Director for the Georgia Department of Human Services Division of Child Support Services, Tanguler Gray has more than 2 decades of experience in child support services. Having held many leadership roles across multiple fields and leading the charge for the Rapid Process Improvement Initiative, Ms. Gray has proven to be a leader in defining justice, joining the conversation with a talk on outreach versus incarceration. Welcome, Tanguler Gray.
Off to a great start. So again, my name is Tanguler. I am the director for the Georgia Division of Child Support Services. I want to talk to you a little bit about outreach. How outreach is actually an excellent opportunity for the people who are court-ordered to receive child support and for our parents who are court-ordered to pay child support. So, next slide. Let's talk about child support in general for the state of Georgia. For those of you that may not be familiar with our organization, we serve as a part of the Georgia Department of Human Services, DHS. DHS has 3 divisions: child support, aging, and DFACS. The purpose and responsibility of child support is to make sure that we are providing both financial and emotional support to those children that are in need. The department's vision is to build stronger families for a stronger Georgia. So, next slide. How many child support cases do you think we have here in the state of Georgia? Can anyone take a guess? She said too many. Too many would be right at 380,000 cases here in the state of Georgia. I want to just take a few minutes to tell you about our role and responsibility. There's core services that the Child Support Program is responsible for providing. Those core services mean we just get a request. We get a request from services, whether it is from someone who's already receiving public assistance or someone who has requested assistance from us directly. We move that request through the process, and the next phase would be to locate. So I'm just going to give you guys an example. How many of you all know who Denzel Washington is, the actor? How many of you guys know him? Okay, so the purposes of this discussion, let's just assume that Denzel is my man. We're going to roll with that just for the purposes of this discussion. Denzel Washington, for today, in this next 26 minutes, is my man and my man only. We're going to go with that? All right, so Denzel and I are having problems. We are having a few problems, and we have 2 beautiful children, Pebbles and Bam Bam. Those are the 2 beautiful children we have. Right now, I am not getting any financial support for our 2 beautiful children. So I'm going to walk you through this process. We've already talked about the request for services. Once the request is received, the child support program is also responsible for locating that parent. Do you know what locate means? All that means is making sure that we have good residential or good employment information on Denzel. I know where Denzel is. It is my job to keep up with him. However, there may be times and situations where custodial parents who are in need of financial and emotional support for their children may not necessarily know where the parent is. So our role is to get good locate and good residential information on Denzel. All right, so once we found him, because we both know he in Hollywood, I keep up with him. The next stage will be to make sure that we move forward with establishing paternity. This is a huge responsibility. Can anyone in the audience tell me why it's a huge responsibility? If Denzel and I are already married, then paternity has already been established, right? But if Denzel and I are not married, and our 2 beautiful children, Pebbles and Bam Bam, were born out of wedlock, it is the agency's responsibility to establish paternity. So at this point, Denzel has to be contacted. We need for Denzel to come in, I need to go in, and our 2 beautiful children needs to go in, and all parties are tested to ensure that Denzel is indeed the biological father. Once the testing is completed and we move forward, then the order is established. Now, many people believe that when child support orders are established, they used to be established based on a percentage model. Did y'all guys remember hearing in the past where they say, well, if you got 2 kids, you're only going to pay 23% of your income? Anybody remember hearing that? That is no longer the case. Georgia operates off of a shared income model. So if I apply for services, and Denzel is indeed the person named for Pebbles and Bam Bam, this shared income model, the responsibility of the agency is to make sure that my income is considered and Denzel's income is considered when the order is established. There's other things that are considered as well, who's providing health insurance or medical insurance, visitation as it relates to the children. There are a number of factors that are considered when that order is established. So let's just assume that we've gotten to that phase and the order's been established. So Denzel is just ordered to pay, I don't know, $100,000 a month. Let's just go with that. We are talking about Denzel. So he's ordered to pay $100,000 a month. Once that order's been established, the preferred method of payment is to make sure that the order is sent to Denzel's place of employment. And then once it's sent to his place of employment, we have a particular organization that processes those payments, and the payments are sent directly out to the family. Now, with this process, the focus here, again, is providing both financial and emotional support to the two children, Pebbles and Bam Bam. So if Denzel runs into a situation and he falls on hard times, now hard times for Denzel would be what? He's no longer acting. If he is no longer acting, he does not have the ability to pay me $100,000 a month. Would you guys agree with that? All right, so I'm going to let you guys have that for just a minute. I don't agree that he shouldn't pay me $100,000 a month because that's what he's ordered to pay. But in this particular situation, he is no longer able to pay $100,000 a month. So he's out of compliance with this order that's been established. And when he is out of compliance, that's when we move forward with a phase that's called enforcement. Now, this is when things get interesting, and you guys could just talk to me and tell me the truth. Enforcement is what gives child support a bad name, because that's all you hear. Wouldn't you agree? All they do is take people's license. All they do is put people in jail. How in the world is Denzel going to pay if his license is suspended and he's incarcerated? That's what we normally hear. Would you agree with that? So let's talk about that process just a minute. Would you also agree that it's very important to be informed? Yes. I really appreciated the last speaker when he talked about building relationships and what we can do as an act of justice. So once the order has been established, Denzel is no longer able to pay the $100,000. We do move forward with enforcement. Enforcement has two sides of it. There's the administrative action side, and then there's a legal side. Can anybody tell me what administrative actions mean? We just talked about it. That's the rumor mill around. That's all they do is suspend license, right? All they do is take involuntary payments. That's all they're focused on, is making sure that they're getting the money. The purpose of the administrative actions is to communicate with Denzel. Denzel, you are out of compliance with this order for whatever number of days. This is the intent of the action. The intent of the action is to obtain financial and emotional support for the child. You move through all those actions, you get on into the legal part. Now, legal is the key. Now, what did we say earlier? We said Denzel fell on hard times, right? We also said that Denzel no longer had the ability to pay because he's not making movies at this time, right? So when or if a case is transitioned through all of those administrative actions and there has been no response, response means communication or payment, then that's when you move into legal actions. Legal actions have to be communicated with the judges in that circuit where the parent court-ordered to pay resides. We, as an agency, we are responsible for communicating to that judge that Denzel is not in compliance with the order and he has the ability to pay. Legal actions cannot be pursued when we cannot present evidence to the judge that there's ability to pay. Now, I know some of you thinking, well, that's not what happened with the person I know. You know, they suspended his license or suspended her license and they didn't even know and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to talk about those opportunities. We're going to talk about what type of correspondence and communication is made on behalf of the agency to try to get the parent court-ordered to pay child support in compliance with the order. Now, there's also an opportunity for review and modification. Now, we said Denzel no longer has the ability to pay. We've reached out to him several times. Denzel has not responded. We've taken administrative actions to get Denzel's attention. The administrative actions have not provided us with an opportunity to be successful. The administrative actions has transitioned into legal actions. Now we got a court hearing. We've presented the information to the judge. Denzel may or may not have been served for court in order to present the situation. How could that situation been avoided? We also have a service that's referred to as a review and modification. Review and modification. So what does that mean? I said earlier Denzel was ordered to pay $100,000 a month for Pebbles and Bam Bam. I also said that Denzel is no longer acting at this time and he cannot pay $100,000. With communication and supporting documentation, Denzel can request a review and modification. Now what does that mean for you? A review and modification does not guarantee that that child support order is going to be decreased. Review and modification does not guarantee that a child support order is going to be decreased. The review and modification may result in the child support order staying the same. But the supporting documentation has to be provided in order for us to determine whether or not the child support order should be modified downward, upward, or stay the same. Review and modification. It results from communication. Denzel communicates with the agency, I am no longer working in that field. I am no longer making that money. I need a review and modification, and provides the supporting documentation. So, what happens when none of that works? We've gone through the intake phase. We've gone through all of these different phases. Denzel is still ordered to pay $100,000. We have all types of administrative actions and legal actions that have been taken. And then he finally decides, okay, I cannot continue to operate with other issues and still have this child support hanging over my head. In Georgia, we have committed to outreach programs. I have quite a few people here today, so I want to make sure you get to know who they are. Wendy Parker is the manager of our Parental Accountability Court program. And then we have John Strickland. He is here as one of 3 supervisors for our Fatherhood Program. We have 2 programs we've dedicated to in the state of Georgia for parents who are ordered to pay child support who's having a hard time. Fatherhood is a program focused on those parents court-ordered to pay child support who's either unemployed or underemployed. So what happens to Denzel's child support order in the meantime? Well, if we've suspended Denzel's license, he communicates with the agency. He enrolls in the Fatherhood Program. We release the license. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. Denzel is having a hard time. He has communicated and said, I can no longer pay this $100,000 a month. I need a rev mod or some additional support. If his case does not meet the review and modification qualification, Denzel can request to participate in the Fatherhood Program. It is focused on parents who are ordered to pay child support. He's either unemployed or underemployed. We provide a variety of services to these people who are ordered to pay child support. But what's most important for you to leave here with is if he enrolls in the program, he participates as requested, we release a hold on his driver's license if we were the one that placed it. Yes. So, what does that mean for the child support in the meantime? Does it mean that the child support just goes away? Does the child still need the financial and emotional support? Yes. But it provides us with an opportunity to communicate with the judge and say, Denzel is communicating with us. This order, he no longer has the ability to pay. We have proof that he doesn't have the ability to pay. And he's participating in this outreach program. So, what other options are available as it relates to a parent court to pay child support? Let's just say that Denzel is unemployed, but he has received assistance from the agency in times past, and for whatever reason, it doesn't appear that Denzel can maintain employment. Next slide. We also offer an additional outreach program. This program is called Parental Accountability Court. We establish a relationship with Superior Court judges. That relationship with the Superior Court judges extends to organizations in the community. We work with community service boards. I really appreciated Terrence's comment earlier when he was addressing the mental health issue in our community. Parents who are coordinated to pay child support, they may have other issues besides just child support. Would you agree? So this program is designed to help, yes, parents who are unemployed, and they can also be underemployed. But the focus here is to maximize the relationship we have with the community service boards. And the community service boards assist the department and our Superior Court judges with establishing plans for these parents who are coordinated to pay child support that may have mental health issues, substance abuse issues. If I am an individual with mental health or substance abuse issues, would you agree that providing me with a job is not the only answer to the plight that I'm dealing with? Would you agree with that? Would you also agree that child support is not the only issue that I'm facing at this time? Would you also agree that it takes some time to get a person with these type of challenges up and self-sufficient? The Fatherhood Program is designed to focus on those parents who really have a need for employment opportunities. And so we have 21 fatherhood agents across the state dedicated to those parents who meet the criteria. Parental Accountability Court, as I previously mentioned, is a little different. It still focuses on parents coordinated to pay child support, but these services are focused on those parents that may have mental health and substance abuse issues. And the purpose there is to establish a plan, provide them with services through the Community Service Board to ensure that the underlying issues are getting addressed. Next slide. So, what is the challenge here? The challenge is we have 380,000 cases. Out of the 380,000 cases, how many people do you think are paying child support as ordered? If you had to guess a percentage, what would it be? Someone said 10. No, a little higher. Someone said 30. Someone said 40. Someone said 50. Contrary to popular opinion, the majority of people who are accorded to pay child support is paying as ordered. We have a little over 62% of our entire caseload. And what did we say the caseload was? 380,000. That is paying as ordered, providing both financial and emotional support to their children. However, we also have almost 7% of our total caseload that we consider hard to serve. Why is that? We had data on the previous slides that talked about how many people, men, women, and children we've served in the Fatherhood Program. Also, on another slide, we talked about how many men, women, and children that we served or supported with Parental Accountability Court. But if you paid attention to those numbers, it is less than 10,000 total. So why is that? Why is it that we have less than 10,000 people taking advantage of this opportunity? Why do you think that is? They don't know. What other reasons can you think of? Relationships. Would you agree that sometimes people don't necessarily want the government in their business? Would you agree with that? So that's an issue. And then would you also agree that we are dealing with the very sensitive areas? People's children, very sensitive, right? And people's money, also very sensitive. Yes. Would you agree that the relationship that we establish with our customers get off on the wrong foot to begin with? Yes? Yes, so that is the reason why I am so thankful to the Epic Center and AARP as well for inviting us here today to talk with you about these services. I cannot stress enough how we want your help in communicating the services that the Division of Child Support provides as it relates to outreach. It is not our goal to incarcerate. It is not our goal to collect only. It is not our goal to suspend driver's license. That is not the end goal. The end goal is to build a relationship with the custodial parent responsible for the child, to build a relationship with the father responsible for the child, and to build stronger families for a stronger Georgia. I cannot stress enough, if you don't remember anything that I've said today, I want you to leave here knowing that we have less than 10,000 people participating in our outreach programs. These are services that we are pleading our parents who are court-ordered to pay child support to participate in. Fatherhood, an employment-based program focused on those that are unemployed or underemployed. Our goal is to provide a number of services: GED classes, resume writing, mock interviews, employment leads. These are the type of services that we are offering to those fatherhood participants. Underemployed, employment opportunities is the focus. Parental Accountability Court, the second outreach program. It is focused again on those parents who are accorded to pay child support, who may be unemployed or underemployed. But the reason why they're unemployed or underemployed is because they have greater challenges. Those challenges, once again, deals with mental health issues, substance abuse issues. So a case plan is established by our Parental Accountability Court coordinator and the Superior Court judge through the Community Service Board and that particular circuit. Now, What did I say that we would do if a person participates in one of those programs? We would release the driver's license, yes. And as you release the driver's license, does that mean that you are no longer ordered to pay child support? No. What does it mean? It means that you will not be facing any administrative or legal actions as long as you're participating in the program, because the program is designed to help the parent courted to pay child support get back on his or her feet in order to be financially stable in providing financial support to the child and emotional support. Now, I'm running out of time, so I want to touch on the emotional support for just a few moments. We tend to have a bad reputation when people come in and say, well, Tanguler won't let Denzel see the children. Now, if y'all have seen Denzel, I'm going to let Denzel see the children because I want him to see me too. But in this particular situation, let's just assume that I am not allowing Denzel to see the children. And Pebbles and Bam Bam were born out of wedlock. We also make access and visitation referrals. Many people don't know. So if you know someone who is court-ordered to pay child support, and they are experiencing issues with access and visitation with their child, and there's no family violence or domestic violence issues, because that would exclude, we can make referrals to vendors that provide support to Denzel and other parents courted to pay child support to try to establish either an access and visitation order or a legitimation order. So once again, if you know someone who's experiencing issues with having access to his or her child, and there is no domestic violence or family violence issues, we can make the referral for that parent court to pay child support to a vendor that can work with both parties to either address an access and visitation order or a legitimation order. Those are services that we can provide through referrals. Although we don't have the legal authority to address it as an agency, we do have a dedicated resource for referrals that these vendors utilize in particular circuits statewide. And then the last thing I want to mention is image and engagement. So we talked a lot about the lack of knowledge. We also talked about the possible fear. We talked about people just being private and not necessarily wanting government in their business. And so as social media continues to serve as the platform for communication, we as an agency realize that how we communicate when our customers need to change. And we want to make sure that we are supporting the exchange of information. We have now a child support app in Georgia. Georgia is the only state in the nation with a full-service mobile app. Most people have smartphones. The mobile app allows customers to access their child support information, get case alerts, whether it's text messages, to get an update on their case. And for parents who are ordered to pay child support, you can make payments on the mobile app. You don't have to be inconvenienced to come into the office. If there is a driver's license issue, you can make a payment on the mobile app for your driver's license, get the driver's license release, pay the fee through DDS, Department of Driver Services. You can do it all on the app without stepping into the office. So I want to strongly encourage you, two things. Please spread the word about our outreach programs, Fatherhood and Parental Accountability Court, and also make sure that your family members and friends are aware that we now have a mobile app that they can communicate and manage their child support needs where they are. Thank you again so very much for this opportunity to engage with you and to share with you information about services the Division of Child Support provides.